Welcome to the Indy Boys Racing Podcast. My name is Tristan Grider, joined with, as always, my amazing co-hosts, Daniel Chaney and Justin Cox. How are we doing today, boys?
I'm doing swell. We have a special episode with Mr. RAY ROBB today. It's going to be a great episode. What about you, Daniel? Oh, wait, you're over here now. That's right.
I was really trying to follow up as how formal you just did that, but it just wasn't going to happen. But I'm really excited for today. We got a really good show cooking up. Got to stir up the pot. Cooking up a great episode with the boys. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it was an incredible weekend of auto racing this past weekend. We were at Martinsville. We were in Australia. And in my opinion, most importantly, we were in Long Beach. It was a great weekend overall in Autosports. Let's go ahead and transition into some motorsport media. All right. Lots of news this weekend in the motorsports world, especially over on the NASCAR side. So I guess we should do a lot of driver announcements because, as we know, Bristol Dirt's coming up this weekend. And we got a lot of people doing one-offs. So I'll name a couple. Josh Williams is going to make his Cup debut in the number 78 for Live Fast Motorsports. Nice. Super exciting for him. Justin Allgaier is going to drive for Spire in the 77 at Bristol Dirt. Super exciting. Another Spire guy, except this one is a champion. Chase Elliott is going to drive for Spire in the Truck Series at Bristol Dirt. Super exciting. So that's just a couple cool ones. In the future, next in I guess 2 weeks, 2 races at Talladega, Jeffrey Earnhardt's going to drive for in a black number 3
car
at Talladega. That's the sexiest thing I've ever heard. Now, this one was a little bit surprising. I was very surprised by this announcement. Kaz Gralla is going to drive at Talladega and Dover for Big Machine Racing in the number 48. Now, this is normally Jade Buford's ride. The owner of Big Machine Racing was reported saying that they expect to run up front and win. So interesting that they put that they took out Jade in the car, and honestly, I thought Jade was running pretty solid this season.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and just interesting that they're taking him out for 2 races. Maybe this is just a trial thing
to test
out. I don't
really
really know
if Kaz can run any better. Maybe I don't know.
A little bit of news from this past weekend. We'll get into the whole Ty Gibbs versus Sam Mayer debacle a little bit later in the show. Those boys were throwing hands. But Ty Gibbs has been fined $15,000 for hitting another car on pit road post-race. Obviously, he hit Sam Mayer's car post-race. And however, he was not fined for punching Sam Mayer in the face. He was fined for hitting another car on pit road,
which is very
$15,000. Interesting. And my last piece of news. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I have 2 more pieces. Sorry. RFK's penalty has been upheld. Brad Keselowski and RFK Racing tried to fight the penalty that they were issued at Atlanta. They didn't win. So there you go. It's the last of it. We still really don't know a whole lot. All we know is that it was a body modification on the rear. So interesting over there. And my final little piece of news is that Hailie Deegan has spoke out against the Cup Series race length. She reportedly wants Cup races. She wants Cup races to be cut in half unless it's a crown jewel race.
I don't know about half.
That's what I no.
Maybe a quarter of the race.
My opinion on crown jewel races is the only races that should be above 500 miles or 500 miles or more are crown jewel races. For example,
I agree with that.
These being the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, and the Southern 500. Yeah. Those are the only races, in my opinion, that should be 500 miles. And as we saw it, for example, sometimes this is okay. Martinsville has normally been 2 500-mile races throughout the season. We saw last week a 400-mile Martinsville race, arguably the worst race of the season so far in the NASCAR Cup Series. I don't necessarily agree with half, but I would like to see more races be 300 miles. The shortest race we see of the year is, of course, the New Hampshire 301, and I would like to see some more races be in the 300, maybe some 350s. I just think NASCAR races are... I don't have 4 hours, 36 races a year to just sit there and watch NASCAR when F1 is an hour and a half in 2 hours. I don't have I don't think a whole lot of Americans have a lot of to watch these races, and I honestly kind of agree with Deegan. I don't agree with cutting in half though.
Yeah.
So
I think
He's on the
only
right
ones-
track.
I think
she
the
is
only
on the
ones-
right track. And NASCAR, Haley Deegan is a very prominent figure in the NASCAR world.
Yeah.
Very popular. People know who she is, and NASCAR's probably gonna have to listen pretty soon. So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that I kind of agree. Just don't cut.
Yeah, the only tracks I think that should keep their normal race length are Bristol, Martinsville, Talladega, Daytona, and Darlington and Charlotte, and that's it. Those are the only ones I think that should keep their race length. Just because those are the most iconic tracks and most well-known tracks in NASCAR. So those are the only ones that I think should keep their normal race length.
Yeah,
Including,
there you go.
yeah, so.
All right, let's go ahead and go over to some IndyCar news with the main man himself, IndyCar expert, Daniel Chaney.
Yeah, so the main IndyCar news that we have right now, it's Indy 500 related, but it's not quite the news that we want. The news is that we are still stuck at 32 cars. I know, it's mind-blowing.
My
We
head
hate
is gonna
it.
explode!
I'm going to take my pitchforks and throw it at IMS.
I can't believe it's happening, honestly. We had how many entries last year? 38, I believe?
We had
38 or something.
36.
36 still. We weren't in this problem.
And it is
Where's
weird
Top Gun
because
Racing?
we have a lot more full-time cars
We need RC
than we
or
typically
something.
have. And at the beginning of this season, before the season, it was pretty much like solidified that we were expecting at least 35 cars.
Yeah.
We have 32. We're 3 short of that. We're 1 short of having a full field as of now. I'm 99% sure we'll get there
Yeah.
because
It'll happen.
teams and drivers want to race in the Indy 500. I don't know how many times I have to say that. People want to run the Indy 500. The matter is how they get to it. What teams are willing to extend either an extra car just for the one race, or just teams that'll want to start up as just an Indy 500 team, then maybe become part-time. So I know a driver that's been trying at least a lot recently has been Stefan Wilson. He's got like a partnership with a team, and he's got funding with a sponsor. The only thing is he doesn't have a seat. He doesn't have a team that is willing to give him that opportunity to kind of let that smaller organization take it over as kind of a partner organization. There's other drivers that I think could fill some of these potential spots. I know Simona Di Silvestro and Andretti Autosports. They obviously had like the Penske 5th car essentially last Indy 500, and Penske's not even running a 4th. So I don't know if
crazy.
if they're planning on having a 4th car kind of be like a Andretti Autosports. I would hope so.
I
think
it could. I mean, maybe. I mean, especially. I mean, if you look back to Penske last Indy 500. I mean, there was that whole debate on whether Will Power was going to make the Indy 500 or not, and I think that kind of scared Team Penske a little bit, and I understand why they've cut down from the 5 cars they had to the 3, because I mean, come on, like it came to the point where I thought 3 Penske cars weren't making the 500 last year, and it was
crazy last year because it was mostly all the Chevys. I think it was ECR and then and then I can't remember who. There was like 2 others that was only in the top 10 after qualifying. It was
Arrow
all
McLaren,
Hondas.
maybe.
It might have
Arrow
been
McLaren.
Arrow. It might have been Arrow. I can't remember exactly though. But I know a lot of the Chevy teams last year were in the bottom.
VK, because VK and
VK
Ed
was on the
Carpenter
front
both-
row.
VK and Ed Carpenter both made the Fast 9.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I'm
I
saying.
mean-
VK was on
a
the front row.
few. There was a few, but the majority of the Chevy teams were in the bottom, like the bottom 20 of or the bottom 15 or 20 of the field or whatever. So,
But also something to kind of note, like obviously Penske had 5 cars in the 500, and they didn't do all that well. But they were well spread over all 4 of their full-time drivers last season, and now they're cut down to 3 full-time. And all 3 of those drivers are in the top 4 for the point standings.
Yeah, let's just say I think Penske's been doing okay so far this
I-
year.
I think they could be fine having an extra car. Just me. Maybe that's just me.
I think
But
they really haven't lost a race this year. So I mean,
yeah,
Undefeated.
it's just like I'm fully confident we'll get to the 33. I'm not gonna riot. I'm not gonna turn it into something that it doesn't need to be. I think we'll get there.
could you
Someone
imagine though?
Just
Someone's gonna take it though. Someone's gonna
Could
fill
you
that spot.
imagine if we don't have a full 11 rows?
oh,
Something's
we'll
gonna
have
happen.
11 rows. We'll just be one car short.
That's why I said a full 11 rows.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean,
My bad.
it got to the point
Um,
where NASCAR had this problem where they would be 43 cars, but only like 36 of them would run the race because like
Yeah.
7 of them would start and park. So I kind of get where they're coming from. Maybe we would even see this in the 500. I mean, we would see cars that like would make the 500 and then just like run 2 laps and then park their cars.
Yeah.
I mean, the incentive of running, like, because I know I've said this before. I believe I said it last week on the same topic, but if there's only 32, and you're just and you have the opportunity to get into the race, and you're in the race, there's no bumping because there's only 32. You get to be that 33. Why would you not take it?
Right.
If you can fund a car and just be in the show, you don't have to be competitive. You
However,
don't
I
have to
feel
win.
like if we get a 33rd, there's a very strong possibility that we get some bumping cars. I could see it happening. I mean, hey,
yeah, I think
you could
I
be
think
like a
once we
Top Gun
get-
Racing and show up at the track and just be like, yeah, we're entering the Indy 500.
Once we get to 33,
Yeah.
I think that's when more people will be open to it. But I think there's this holdback right now, and I don't know what has to happen for people to kind of get past whatever this wall is, because we've been at 32 for a while, and
It's getting close.
we've got over a month, and I know typically
Just
like
under 50
even
days.
last year, there were plenty of teams that stepped up in the last 2 months before.
we're
It's
we're
not-
almost within a month.
It's not impossible. It is not impossible. It is very much still possible that we get 33 and that we potentially get bump days and bumped cars. We're just not there yet. And I think it's a little too early to get all pitchforky and pessimistic, but I don't know. We're not there yet. We just gotta hope we'll get there, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very, very interesting. All right, let's go ahead and transition into our special interview of the week. Let's go and see what's going on with Stingray Robb. And welcome back to the Indy Boys Racing Podcast. We have a very special guest joining the show today, the 2020 Indy Pros 2000 Series champion and current driver, the number 2 Andretti Autosports Honda in Indy Lights, Ray Robb. Welcome to the show today, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
You know, so far, so good today. Just excited that we could get the man himself on the show. So,
the man with
You're
the
hyping
coolest
me up
name
already.
in motorsports.
I don't,
the man
I don't
himself.
need to hype up. Just a man. Just a man.
But hey, man, you've been so far. I know we're only one race in, but I mean the transition from you being in Juncos last season to being in Andretti, it's very refreshing to see you like get back to that like sort of level that you were at in pro. So I mean,
Yeah, you're telling me.
yeah.
I feel the same way.
for real. But I mean, just in general, like so far, I mean, you dominated Indy Pro in 2020. So I feel like there was no surprise that you were going to move up to lights in 21. Without this being your second season in lights, like how has it changed? Do you feel more comfortable? And have you adapted to being with like a new team dynamic at Andretti?
Yeah, so I mean, first off, the step from Indy Pro 2000 to Indy Lights is kind of a good jump. Not just in speed, but also in the way that the car handles and the way you have to drive it. It's so different. You know, I relate it from like going to single speed go-karts into shifter karts. It's just a completely different driving style. Like you see fast drivers move between the two, but you kind of have to develop that skill set once you get there. And especially in big cars, right? Like you increase downforce, horsepower, weight, wheelbase, everything. And so it's just magnified even more so. So last year for me was like a whole whirlwind of different things. I'm trying to learn the car. I'm trying to learn the series. I got new guys I'm competing against. and I'm working with a different group of guys within Juncos, and so it was just like a whole, yeah, it was too much to handle.
Yeah.
For real.
So definitely like this year, riding on or signing up with Andretti, I just felt like like you said earlier, it's refreshing. And so from the start, like I got a good conversation going with my engineer, and like I have my own engineer, I have my own mechanics that I'm working with inside the team, but everyone's still open to sharing all the information that we're learning at test events or on and off the track. And so it just made it easy to transfer all the knowledge that I had from last year to the new team, and everyone works so well together. And I think one thing that makes Andretti special is they match personalities well with each other. Like, for example, Hunter McElroy is a tall, string bean Australian guy, and his mechanic, or not his mechanic, his engineer is the exact same. Like, they could be brothers if you stood them next to each other. So it's kind of funny to see like how those two interact versus how my engineer and I interact. It's like, if you were to switch either one of those roles, I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
And so like for me, moving to Andretti just made sense. And especially with my manager being Peter Rossi, his son is Alexander Rossi.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I feel like I was part of the family before I even got there. And they're so welcoming and they're so professional at what they do. It's like, when you arrive, they are where they are for a reason.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's really good to hear that like it's been pretty much seamless for you and overall, as you mentioned, just refreshing. So a lot of people obviously were introduced to you through the road of Indy, but I was actually introduced to you because I'm a huge NASCAR guy, and so I was introduced to you back when I used to watch K&N West. Back when K&N West was a thing. So you ran, I believe, not that many races. I feel like you were more part-time. You ran a couple races at Utah, I think, and a couple races at Meridian, if I'm remembering right. I'm guessing just because like very close to where you're like located and chilling.
I could
in
throw
Idaho.
a rock and hit the track.
For real. Were you ever really considering a stock car route, or was this more just like they were trying to find a guy with like a lot of road course experience to?
No, so I mean, I grew up go-karting, right? Like from the time I was 5 till I was 15, I had spent my whole life in a go-kart, and it's like 42 weekends a year that I was on the road doing that. And so when the opportunity came to step into cars and I was trying to learn what I wanted to do, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm just going to try everything that I can get my helmet on in, I'm going to drive. And so I drove dirt modifieds. I did the K&N West car. I did open wheel racing. I drove Corvettes down at the Bondurant driving school. And so it was like everything that I could do, I was doing, and I just wanted to feel out where I wanted to be. And I actually, during that time too, I was driving for the CRG factory team in karting in Italy. And so I was like, maybe I'll just be a professional karter for the rest of my life, maybe make enough money to eat some food and get a bedroom or something every once in a while. But like, I don't care. If it was something that I loved, that's what I wanted to do. And open wheel just called my name. And so like for me, the stock car thing was just a cool opportunity. It wasn't like a huge budget deal. One of the guys here locally was the one that I drove for, and he pretty much said like, hey, if you just sell enough tickets to pay for your seat to the Meridian Speedway race, like I'll let you drive my car. Nice. And so maybe one of those scenarios, like you get what you pay for, but it was still a super cool opportunity because it's like, if I didn't have him give me that chance and take that chance on me, there's no way I would have even ever got to experience short quarter mile, or is it quarter or eighth of a mile? Oval.
Yeah,
and it's like
oval racing, right?
Yeah, and it's crazy, dude. Those stock car guys are insane. So I feel kind of embarrassed too, because one of my last stock car races was Haley Beegan's big win in the K&N series. So it was like everyone got beat by a girl, so it wasn't like I was the only one. But I'm like, okay, fair enough. She drove well. So anyways.
That's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so quick hypothetical for you. Okay.
All right.
You just spent a long day at the shop. All right. Pretty close to where we're all actually from is where Andretti Autosport is. When you get home, you lay down on your bed. What is the comfort movie or show that you're turning on after a long day's work, bro?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Shoot. Well, I grew up with Disney stuff. So like anything Pixar, that's kind of my go-to.
Yes. I love
Kung Fu Panda always hits the spot.
That's what's up.
I don't know, man. I've been watching Meat Eater. Have you guys heard of that before?
Yeah, I have. I actually have heard of that.
Yeah. So I'm a big hunter and outdoorsman back home in Idaho, and so if they got like a new YouTube video out or a new episode on the Netflix series out, that's typically kind of what I'll just settle into, because it's like when you're full into racing and that's all you think about all the time, it's nice to kind of get a break away from it. And it's like Pixar is just, I mean, it's good, but sometimes it's like I need more meat to it.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
Good one.
That's awesome.
Dad jokes over here.
Hey, nothing like a good old Stingray Robb dad joke. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
All right. I'll send this over to Daniel.
Okay, so this question is actually requested by my dad. My dad is he's one of your fans. We went to I think it was the race at the IMS road course last year, and he was like, "There's a driver named Stingray," and I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "I like him," and so like pretty much since we started the show, he's like, "You guys have to get Stingray Robb on the show, please, for me."
That's awesome.
And so something like both me and him have noticed is a lot of your social media presence has to do that you're really no stranger with sharing your Christian faith and how it ties in with your motorsports career. So I just wanted to know, like, is this something that you've always tried to kind of mesh together, or like has this been like a recent thing, and like if so, like why is it so important to you?
Yeah, so to make a long story short, I mean, most of my life has been involved in the church and around, and like brought my faith towards racing. And even in the karting days, I'd run like a bright pink duct tape cross right on the front of my fairing with a Bible verse on it. So one of the things that I like grew up watching was Tim Tebow, and like seeing him run John 3:16 on the eye black was like a big motivation for a young driver who had a Christian faith and Christian foundation to step into the motorsports world and kind of share my own version of that. And so I kind of just have used it as my platform. And I think that that's part of the reason why I've gotten where I've gotten, is that this is my opportunity to share the gospel to everyone around me and just be a light in the world that is so dark and chaotic. And it seems like more recently too, especially after COVID, people are more receptive to that, because I think so often in life we get complacent. We start searching for answers and other things that may not be so productive and so good for ourselves. And so like having that place to run to in my faith has allowed me to perform well in racing, and sharing that with others. They kind of are able to listen because they see the results of that. Like for example, in 2020, first race of the year, Road America, after the whole COVID deal, like we've spent the last 4, 5, 6 months off of the racetrack away, and first race back, we have a fuel pump issue on the opening lap of qualifying. It's like, oh man, can't catch a break. And then in the race, like went from last to fifth. It's like, okay, making progress. And then the next one is like fifth to second. Like, okay, we can make a run at the championship here. And that third race of the year was at Mid-Ohio. And I remember, I think I started like top 4 somewhere. I wasn't far off of pole. Like, okay, we can work from there. We got a good car. I know how to drive. At least I thought I knew how to drive. But
I would hope so.
Yeah, exactly. I ended up finishing that race in 10th. And it's like, okay, the car was great. No one punted me off. It was just my fault. Like I just drove so bad. I put myself in bad positions, and I ended up pulling into the pits after that event. And my driver coach was Victor Franzoni, and like he's a driver, he understands. And I just looked at him, and he kind of shrugged his shoulders, like didn't say anything. I'm like, okay, I'll be back. So I put my helmet in the trailer, and I was like fuming. And I just walked out into the fields there at Mid-Ohio, and I took a knee. I was like, all right, God, like this is it. I've given everything I have for as long as I can remember. And it's either I'm not good enough, I can't get it right, something always goes wrong, it's not my fault. Like I'm tired of me making mistakes or blaming it on something else. And I finally just had this verse come to my mind, and it was James 1, and talks about how your trials produce perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And it was kind of this reminder all of a sudden. And that was like a verse that I've had in my head since I was, I don't even know, second or third grader, that they made me memorize at school, you know? And it just kind of came up to the surface in that moment and reminded me of like, nah, this is all for a reason. This is all for a purpose. This is preparing you for your future. This is what God's plan has in store for you. Like, don't take this so personally. Just take it in stride and learn from it. And I think that so often in life, we allow ourselves to be identified by our results, and like that's not our identity. And something that my mom and grandma have always told me is like, remember who you are and whose you are. And like that whose you are is like we're God's children. We're represented by more than what we are. Like we're not enough, and that's the whole point, right? Like that's why our faith is so important, because it's a gift of grace, and that gift of grace allows us to perform. And so our identity is not in the results. It's not in the trophy. It's in something that's worth so much more, because at the end of the day, the trophy's going to go away, and the only thing that matters is the next trophy, if that's your focus, right? Like, it's like every breath is only as important as the next one. Yeah. So it's like, it's all going to fade away at some point in your life. So what's the purpose in doing it if you're not doing it for something bigger than yourself?
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very well said.
I think that's a really, really good lesson to learn. For sure. Like,
Very well said. I will say that. Very well said.
well worded, well spoken.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And then with this current Indy Lights season, so obviously we're only one race down, so we're not that far in. But you're currently 4th in the championship standing.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, that's obviously a good sign, I would think. Especially like,
Oh yeah, totally.
yeah, I mean, I would think you'd be happy with that. But like, since we're only one race in, do you have any goals for the season that they could be large scale, small scale? They could be for the next race. They could be for the whole season as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, just what things are you like hoping to accomplish?
I'm gonna sound like any typical racer, but I just want to win. So,
I even before we were going through our questions
we were-
earlier, and I was like, this man's just gonna say he wants to win. Like, like
I mean, it's a good answer.
Yeah.
pretty straightforward. But no, I mean, other than that, I think that this year's gonna be a good development year for me. Learning from Andretti, as they're an IndyCar team as well, kind of grooming me to become that IndyCar driver. And that's always the goal, right? At the end of the day, as long as we're learning from it and having good results, it's like, what more can you ask for? So based off the first race, I know we got a good car. I'm super happy with the way I'm working with my engineer, my teammates, and it's kind of that day in, day out hard work thing where we're elevating each other. Each one of us drivers are very, very good and talented. I mean, Hunter McElroy, Matt Brabham, Christian Rasmussen, those are all championship level drivers. And so it's kind of nerve wracking walking into the engineering room and seeing those three sitting there like, oh shoot, like I got to put myself together real quick before I head out there and learn how to drive. So no, it's super cool to see how we elevate each other on the racetrack. And when we come in and compare data and we're learning all those different things together, I think it just brings that game to another level. And I mean, to be honest, those three guys are probably my biggest competitors this year, outside of maybe a few of the HMD guys and whoever the other wild cards are. I mean, it's a pretty stacked field this year. So I said at the beginning of the season that I just want to win the day, because if you win the day, then you're going to be there, and it's not so much of we need to win every single race. It's just be the guy on that day. So being consistent. Scott Dixon is one of those guys that's like that. He's there every race. Somehow he manages to just make it happen. Even if he's not the most dominant car on the track, he's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, something like that. So he's consistent. Yeah. And that was like one thing that applied for me in 2020 was I finished every single lap of the season. And so it's like, if I can do that day in, day out, I think that we'll be okay.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, I completely understand that. I think it's really good to kind of have like that positive mindset no matter what, just kind of like small steps, Yeah. And then, so this is something me and Tristan noticed. So this might be something we're looking too much into, but
Okay.
when I was looking on your Indy Lights bio page, I saw that one of the interesting notes that was listed was that you played Hamlet in your high school play. So since me and Tristan were both theater kids in high school, so like, we just kind of wanted to know, like, were you always a theater kid, or was this just like a one-time thing that either you were forced to do, or
total one-off? It was fun though. Like, I actually really enjoyed it. So I think it was so long ago, guys. You're making me remember way back when. It's actually not that long ago. It just feels a long time ago. I think it was freshman year, and I was in the sophomore English class, and we had our Shakespeare phase that we were going through, and so we had to like write down like 100 soliloquies or something and then memorize a whole bunch. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. I'm not even here at school half the time. So how am I going to do all this work? So I ended up talking to the teacher, and he goes, tell you what, you come out for the school play as Hamlet, and I will like erase half of your work or something like that.
Oh,
I'm like,
Wow.
I can memorize stuff. I can do this. So I memorized Hamlet's soliloquy or whatever it was, and just got up on stage. I practiced like twice before I went out and did it, so it wasn't that good. But I mean, someone somewhere I think could probably go out there and find it again, and yeah, total cringe.
Bro,
in my life.
I'm gonna scour the internet for that video. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I can tell you where it's at, but I don't want him. I don't want him to be out there.
He said, "I don't want to."
No, that's awesome. My friends, especially at where I go to school right now, in college, they're always like, they'll look up like embarrassing videos of like me in like junior high theater, because it's out there. It's just out there somewhere. They're like, "Hey Tristan, look when you did this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I was like 13." So like it's like it's just funny. It's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, once it's out there, it's out there. You can't do anything
For
about
real.
it, sadly.
And erase the internet.
That digital
Yeah,
footprint
exactly.
is crazy. All right, let's go ahead and pass this over to Jay.
All right. So I think I have the question of the hour, and I know you get asked this a lot, probably.
I think I can guess
not
on
necessarily
what this
this
is.
exact question. I know. How do people react when you tell them that your real name is Stingray?
They usually don't believe me. Yeah. Usually the first thing is like, Stingray, hi, nice to meet you. And they're like, Stingray? I'm like, yeah, Stingray.
Yeah.
So what's your real name?
Stingray.
And that is my real name.
And they're just like, wait, for real? and,
Yeah.
And it just goes back
I need to
and
get
forth.
a business card made that just
Yeah.
says Stingray Robb, my real name. And that's it. Just hand them that
Just
card.
hit 'em in.
But it's my favorite part about your
That's
Instagram
funny.
bio. It's just, yes, it's my real name.
Yeah.
I got tired of people asking. No, I don't get tired. I shouldn't say that. I figured I could answer the questions before they came along. So it's just like, yes,
Yes.
it's my real name. So
Yeah.
that's why it's in my bio.
Yeah,
But
that's funny.
yeah, people don't believe it. And to be honest, I got so many nicknames already. I mean, just from friends and family members, they just kind of roll with it. So it's like, yeah, I can see where you would imagine that's a nickname. It fits in with all the others. But yeah, it's my
That's
real
funny.
name. So
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually, honestly, that to me is like actually crazy. Your name is Stingray. Like,
I mean, it's a top 3 motorsports name
For
probably
real.
of all
For real.
time.
I mean, you got,
appreciate it.
I feel like Scott Speed,
Scott
still
Speed.
has the
Yeah.
number one. I feel like he's number one.
I mean, even Lawless Allen.
Lawless Allen,
Yeah.
I feel like he's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're easily top 3, man.
I like willpower too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Willpower,
willpower. Yeah, that's.
but I
top
don't
5
think
for
willpower.
Sure.
I don't think willpower beats Stingray though. It can't.
appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll see if in the
though. He's
future.
fourth, though.
We'll
He's fourth,
we'll
though.
see if
We'll
in the
see in the
future. We'll see in the future if Stingray beats willpower.
Yeah.
Dude, I can only dream
see
of
it.
that. That'd be
We'll
so
see it.
cool.
That'd be crazy.
We'll see it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, so actually, moving on to kind of that topic. So has IndyCar always been the pedestal, or had you ever wanted to go maybe to Formula One or something like that? Like, so has IndyCar basically been the pedestal, or has there been other interests?
So yeah, like I said before, when I was making a transition from karts to cars, I just tried everything there was. And before that, I mean, I didn't really have a direct path that I wanted to go. I was like, oh, maybe it would be cool to drive Corvettes one day, you know? But I didn't really want to get into sports cars. And so before that, when I was younger, the Ayrton Senna documentary came out. And I watched that as a young driver, and I was like, Ayrton Senna, are you kidding me? That's the guy.
That's the
And
goat.
so that made me want to go to F1.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, I wanted to pursue the F1 side of things. But as an American, I think that it just makes sense to go to IndyCar. Like you're home, you got the fan base. And it's like, I don't have to go live in Europe full time to be in a foreign country at every different weekend. And I don't know, there's something about IndyCar too that I think, I mean, it says a lot when a lot of former F1 drivers come back over. And they actually enjoy it. Like Roman Grosjean, I've gotten a chance to talk to him, and I think he's really enjoying life right now.
Yeah,
being an IndyCar,
he seems way happier now. Yeah,
totally. And I think just like being home a little bit and not on the road as much with his family and get to experience life outside of racing a little bit more. It just leads to longevity. And I think that, I mean, there's probably more money in F1. But that's not what it's about for me. I mean, I want to enjoy it as a passion because like that's something that's in my heart. It's like I want to race and be a driver that is successful, and like F1 would be cool and all, but if you don't end up with the right team or something like that, it's just so political, and there's a whole bunch of things that go along into that. But I think IndyCar is just the right place for me to be for now.
Okay. All right. So
we're happier in IndyCar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So you've been like all over the world, and you've won a lot of things around the world. Like you were on the Team USA and Rotax. You've been to Portugal, Spain, and Italy. How does it feel to live out this dream that you've had since you could just walk and talk, and not only just live it out, but do it successfully as well?
Yeah, no, it's so cool. I feel like I'm living in the total dream, which I am.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way for no reason. It's like, this is pretty cool. But definitely traveling to all those different places and having all those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in those moments, they didn't feel so extraordinary. And I think it's just because it was a part of my life. You only know what you know, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what I knew. And so it's like, oh yeah, we're going to Portugal. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you do it. And then now looking back, it's like going through high school, I think kind of opened my eyes a little bit. So short story, but I was actually homeschooled from kindergarten until 7th grade. And then I actually had a year at a local private school here and there. And I played sports at other schools, everything else. But my view of the world was so, I don't want to say broader, but abnormal to other kids my age.
Yeah.
And so I think that the way that they saw things really came out when I was in high school, and I like would talk to them about racing and everything, and it just didn't make sense to them, or they understood it, and it was just like, well, you realize how crazy that is, right? It was like, now that I think about it, I guess it kind of is.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of cool to look back on those years and the experience that I have now. And I don't know if that's like affected who I am. I'm sure it has in some way, but I don't see the direct correlation one way or the other. But something that's kind of cool is like being this year with Andretti. For example, at Long Beach this last weekend, I got to go and hang out and be a fan, and I was standing in Alexander and Devlin DiFrancesco's pit area.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing there with Peter Rossi and Alexander's father, and Michael Andretti walks up. I'm like, hey, Michael, how's it going? And he's like, good, Stinger, good to see you. How do you feel so far? What do you think of the weekend? And we were talking back and forth, and I'm like, can I take a selfie? I didn't ask him this, but all I want to say is like, can I take a selfie with you? Can you sign my hand or something? And then Marco Andretti walks by, and he's like, hey, Stinger.
You're just like, what?
You're like, these people
Just
know
like,
who I
what?
am. You're like, I've watched these people. I've watched these guys since I was like playing with diecast.
Yeah.
They know who I am. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, it's so
thing.
cool. I feel like I'm living in dreamland over here. But it's funny too, because I feel like just another guy walking around the paddock. Like, I can be a fan and enjoy it for what it is, and I enjoy motorsports. But people are now starting to stop me, say, "Hey, Stinger, can we get a picture with you real quick?" I'm like, how do you know who I am? I'm like, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it's pretty cool.
No, yeah, I definitely like just being able to travel the world, and it broadens your mind. Like, it's crazy. Like, just meeting new people,
sure.
like seeing different cultures and stuff. Like, it's dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, last question that I have before I pass it back to Tristan. So, what was the first thing that went through your mind as you crossed the finish line in St. Petersburg in 2020, and you realized you had just won the Indy Pro 2000 championship? What was the first thing that went through your mind?
Well, I can tell you there was a lot of emotions that season.
I bet.
Like a lot of emotions. I
bet.
talked to you guys about that bottom of the pit after that third race of the year. And then
Yeah.
actually 2 races later, I got my first win.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was 49 race starts before I had my first win in the road to Indy.
Okay.
And so it was just this long wait that I felt for so many years. And I was like lifting that off my shoulders with that win a little bit. And then it was just kind of on to the next step and on to the next step. And pretty soon we won all the races at Indianapolis, and then we get to New Jersey at the end of the year, and it's like, okay, you're in position to win the championship and close it out before even the last race weekend.
Yeah.
And so like the emotions came, I think, a little bit before St. Pete.
Mm.
And it was just spread out a little bit, but crossing the line at New Jersey and realizing that I'd won the championship, it felt surreal. I don't think I really realized what was happening in the moment. Like, I get out of the car, and the first person there that I hug is my mom and my dad and my engineer and my mechanic. And it's just like, okay, well, now what? You check that box, and it's something that you've been working for so long. It's like the dream that you've had since you were a kid, but it's that same thing of the only thing that matters is the next success, right? And so for me, it was kind of cool to go into St. Pete and just enjoy it for what it was and perform at a high level and not have that pressure on me.
Yeah.
I ended up getting another race win. Kind of funny, like before even the
you
last
won the first race that weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a weekend going. But before that race weekend, I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I had a dream and I'm going to win 7 races this year. And this was when I had like 5 race wins.
Yeah.
And she goes, why 7? I'm like, I think it's because in the Bible, it's the number of completion. So like, that's the number of completion in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
I ended up winning 7 races. I was like,
That's
that's cool.
crazy.
The
That's
dream
actually
came
crazy.
true.
That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome.
But I think the whole emotions of the season kind of came to a peak at that final banquet dinner, receiving the championship trophy. And, you know, the championship drivers always give their speech at the banquet, and they do like a little pre-driver intro of like the season for you, and you choose your walk-up song with the music.
Yeah.
And I had written down the speech, and typically there's 3 to 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do this right. I want to thank everyone. I want to say what I need to say. And so mine was like 8 minutes long. And I tried to practice it before that St. Petersburg weekend, and I hadn't gotten through it without crying. Like I would get halfway through and start to talk about like the people that had impacted my life until that point, and I would just start bawling. And I'm not an emotional person at all.
Yeah.
Like you'll hardly ever see me cry. And I got to this point, and I was like, I can't say this. I can't say what I need to say. So I was like, okay, I'm making a decision now. I'm not gonna feel it. I'm not gonna have any emotions. I'm gonna just be a man, like strap myself in and just get it done for the banquet. That's what I was doing. I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm good to go. And then they play that video, and like the song came up, and I was halfway through. I'm like streaming tears down my face. I got a napkin. I'm like wiping my eyes, and like blowing my nose, and my mom and my dad are all crying. And I don't even know why we were crying. I think it was just like so surreal and so amazing that we had gotten this far. And I knew it wasn't because of who I was. It was because of all the people that I got surrounded by and just the opportunities that came about. And so like during that speech, I was just cracking voice and tears rolling down, and I took my time, but it was good. It was like I got to feel the full emotions of it in that night at the banquet. So that was cool.
Okay. Yeah. That's dope.
That is awesome.
Just I could just me personally being like an average person, like just feeling those surreal emotions, like I could just dream about that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy that like you actually got to do that. So, but no. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pass this back to Tristan, and yeah.
All right, so really quick, Stingray, we're gonna do a couple would you rather's. Okay.
Okay.
So
I like
quick
it.
couple would you rather's. I'm gonna do one, then Jay will do one, Daniel will do one. Just quick would you rather. All right. So my would you rather. All right. Would you rather get sushi with the Kumasato or get victory tacos with Colton Herta?
Oh, that is tough. Oh my goodness, I don't even know.
It's tough.
Oh, I can't have both. I can't have both. Are you sure?
That's the game.
Oh man. So I actually grew up karting with Colton a little bit, so I have a more of a relationship with him than I've never really met Takuma.
Yeah.
But I love sushi.
We'll say that. We'll say that. There you go.
Okay, I'll go with sushi. I'll go with sushi with Takuma. It'd be a good chance to meet him, right?
Yeah.
Nothing like getting united over a good meal. So
Yeah, we talked all to David Malukas, and he was like, "Dude, sushi with the Kumasato is the best thing ever." Like, this is just great.
Yeah. All right. Bucket list item. I'll put it on there.
There you go. All right, Jay.
All right. This is kind of on the spot, so it's not really as good as Tristan's. But would you rather have a loose car or a tight car?
Ooh. We always say loose
here.
is
Let me
fast.
let me rephrase this: super loose car or super tight car.
Oh man, both of those are terrible.
I know.
Man, I'll tell you what, loose on an oval is one of the most terrifying things I'll ever experience.
I'm sure.
But man, understeer is the worst feeling in the world. It's so aggravating because you just want to try and get the car turned, and it just pushes like a boat, and you're waiting for it, and waiting for it, and waiting for it, and waiting for it, and then finally you go to the power, and it's like, okay, I still gotta wait for it. So I think depending on the track, I would probably say super loose.
Super loose. Okay.
Yeah.
What you got, Daniel? Okay.
So I couldn't really think of any would you rather questions, but I will give you the patented Tristan Grider question that I usually
Oh,
ask the
man.
drivers.
There you go.
It's more of a hypothetical, not really a would you rather.
Okay.
But if you could only ever step into one car the rest of your life, one track,
Oh my goodness.
one track, one car, every time you step into a car for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh gosh, you guys put me on the spot. Shoot. I think an F1 is a bucket list car.
Okay.
Okay.
A good like championship. So maybe like the old Braun F1
Ooh,
car
yeah.
would be pretty
Ooh,
cool.
Yeah, okay.
What track? American, and I'd want to say an American track, but I'd be lying. Probably Spa. Braun GP
Nice.
F1 car at Spa.
Nice.
nice.
That's awesome.
Solid
That Braun
choice.
GP car was something else.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, Stingray, thank you so much for joining the show today, man. We really, really appreciate it. Do you have anything that you want to shout out?
I mean, I want to thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it. I haven't gotten to do a lot of interviews this year because I haven't won lately. So like, this is super cool. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel like a man again. But no, huge thanks to you guys. I love your guys' show. It seems like you are all pretty knowledgeable when it comes to racing. So it's good to see some good content coming out. I think motorsports is growing too. So it's nice to have some people where there's content being created that people can eat up that are fans. And I think that we need that. So huge shout out to you guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and send it to Motorsport Media. All right. Thank you so much to Stingray for joining the show. It was interesting to hear all about what he had to say. You know, the man himself, the man that puts Stingray on the wing of his car. Like, it's the dopest thing ever.
Yeah.
Special thanks to him for coming out. All right. A lot of racing this past weekend. We had F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR. Rank them however you want. NASCAR was at the bottom.
Oh.
I guess we can go ahead
my
and start with NASCAR. Fly through trucks really quick. William Byron won in the truck series for the first time since 2017. Actually, not 2017. It may have been 2016. Anyway, William Byron won a truck race, and he won the first truck race for Spire Motorsport. In Spire Motorsport's third start in the NASCAR Truck Series, they are a winner. Then again, they also have had 3 guys run their cars or run their trucks that are not in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, and they got another one this weekend. They are going to Bristol Dirt with Chase Elliott. I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
good for.
I know it's off topic, but did I tell you guys when we were going to North Carolina, I saw the truck hauler for Spire going to
No,
Korea.
you didn't tell me. That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did see that.
You didn't
Yeah.
tell me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I thought I sent it in the group chat. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I might
I
have
don't
sent
know.
it in my other group chat. Okay. Never mind. That's off topic. Go back.
All right, whatever. So, congratulations to William Byron on getting the Xfinity Series. Congratulations to Brandon Jones on getting the win. His first win in a couple seasons. Congrats to Brandon Jones.
Oh yeah.
Now for the main event of the evening.
The main event of the night. Let's get ready to rumble.
It is
It's time. Ty Gibbs punched Sam Mayer in the face.
Oh God!
And now I guess we can give a little backstory.
him.
It's the final lap. Brandon Jones has just taken the lead from Ty Gibbs going down the backstretch. Sam Mayer tries to send it in to try to win the Dash for Cash. Ty Gibbs is ahead of him. Mayer gets into the back bumper of Ty Gibbs, runs him up the track. They make contact coming to the start-finish line, beating and banging all over each other. AJ Allmendinger ends up sneaking by on the outside and takes the Dash for Cash win. Ty Gibbs ends up finishing 8th, I believe, and Sam Mayer does get a top 5. Now, this is pretty interesting. As
an
they come
understatement.
down pit road, they both get out of the car. Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs, they walk up to each other. Ty gets in Sam Mayer's face. Sam gets in Ty's face. They were, having a NASCAR driver debacle. These guys have gone into each other's throats since they were in ARCA.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
there's history there. There's history.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
And when you're in 2 championship-winning cars, there's going to be a lot. And I know Ty's had a great season. Sam Mayer hasn't had that bad of a season. Been very much so impressing me in that car.
Oh.
But they got into each other's face. Sam Mayer took his helmet off. He took his helmet off like a NASCAR driver should when they're going to get into an altercation. That's all I'll say. He walks up to Ty Gibbs to continue to keep getting in his face. Sam gives Ty a little push. And Ty Gibbs, with his helmet still on,
wails on him.
Ow!
Punches Sam Mayer in the face, I believe, twice.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard these punches were, because Sam Mayer said that he quote unquote
Threw weak
hit
punches.
through weak punches. I believe
Yeah.
that's what he said. He did have a little bit of a black eye there.
It wasn't a little bit. It was
just a little bit. And
and
for someone who has
weak
been
punches.
punched in the face quite often
not
in their
weak,
life,
yeah.
I've been hit in the face quite often with
Yeah.
my profession. It's they weren't incredible punches, I will say that. But still, you punched him in the face with your helmet on. This obviously sparked a debate on every social media platform. My favorite thing of the week was riding in the car with my father and my mom and reading comments of what people had to say about Ty Gibbs. I won't go into detail; those are a little bit too full. Boys Racing podcast, but it was pretty funny. And anyway, all I gotta just say really quick, Jay, what do you think about Gibbs versus Mayer?
I loved it. I know I blew the group chat up when I saw it happen. I loved it because so it just shows the passion these guys have. In my opinion, this is how a way that these guys show that this is their passion. You know what I'm saying? Like they're this emotional about this thing that they do, and they both showed it together, and Ty Gibbs showed it a little more, if you know what I'm saying. But no, I don't even blame Ty Gibbs for keeping his helmet on because that's smart because he can't get punched in the face at that point. So I don't even blame him.
Even if he did, kind of deserved to get punched back. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit because he did shove Sam first, and I don't even think Sam deserved it because low key, Sam did run him up the track, but Landon Castle kind of caused the rest of it. And then
gonna lie, Landon kind of sent it in there. I mean, congratulations to Landon Castle getting his best finish with Kaulig. I mean, finished runner up.
Yeah,
but no one was catching Brandon.
Oh no, he was out. He was out of there.
No, at that point you're contending for the dash for cash, and I mean it is what it is. Yeah. Daniel, what do you think about Gibbs versus Mayer?
I mean, my main takeaway was I thought WrestleMania was the weekend before. Not last weekend. I don't know, because I wasn't even watching it live. I'm sitting in my room with my girlfriend, and all of a sudden, my phone starts just going ham. And Chaney's like, "Oh my God, punches!" like he's Jim Ross. Like, "By God, he's broken in half!" Like, I was like, "What am I missing?"
He killed him.
Apparently, I missed Stone Cold Ty Gibbs over here. Like,
Mike Tyson.
I don't know.
Gibbs.
I open up Twitter, and dude, like, I don't know. Like, I know, like, and I don't necessarily agree with Ty Gibbs keeping his helmet on, especially since he's the one that threw the first punch, so he clearly knew it was going to happen. But at the same time, Sam Mayer can't be talking trash when he literally was on the ground like a child at the end of that. Like like I don't know, like he's talking all the game. Like
it can go both ways.
Yeah, like they both kind of in the wrong in their own ways. Because I mean he's over here talking game like Ty Gibbs, and over here like what? Like I don't Stone Cold Ty Gibbs. I just
is that your new nickname?
That it doesn't ring well, so I'm not gonna commit to it. But
Stone Cold TY kind of sounds cool.
Here's the thing: if Sam Mayer was the one that won it, maybe we could get some Stone Cold Sam Mayer. But dude, not after that. Not after that. I'm sorry.
Hey, my friend Mike, he's a big fan of the show, by the way. Just so I had to give him credit here. But he made the nickname Mike Tyson Gibbs. I love that. I love that.
It works. It works.
All right, let's go ahead and read the top 10 for both the NASCAR Truck Series and NASCAR Xfinity Series. NASCAR Truck Series, William Byron gets the win for Spire Motorsports. Runner-up is Johnny Sauter, who had a really interesting race. Put Haley Deegan in the wall with not even 40 laps into the race.
Yeah.
And ends up finishing runner-up for Thorsport. Third is Kyle Busch. Fourth, John Hunter Nemechek. Fifth, Ben Rhodes. Sixth place, Chandler Smith. Seventh, Matt Crafton. Eighth, Grant Enfinger. Ninth, Zane Smith, who actually led most of this race. And 10th, Tyler Ankrum. So there you go. There's your top 10 for them. And then let's go ahead and go to the Xfinity Series. Let's read that top 10. As we mentioned earlier, Brandon Jones gets the win. His first win in, I think, a season and a half. So congratulations for Brandon. Second was Landon Castle. Third place, AJ Allmendinger. Fourth place was Austin Hill. Consistency. Fifth place was Sam Mayer. Sixth place, Riley Herbst. Consistency. I never thought I'd say that.
That's crazy.
Seventh place
At least
was
in a positive manner.
for real. Seventh place was Ryan Truex. Eighth place, Ty Gibbs. Ninth place was Ryan Sieg. And 10th place was Jeremy Clements. And now, just outside of the top 10, have to mention him. 11th place was Dale Earnhardt Jr. So there you go. In his one Xfinity Series start of the year, Jr. brings it home 11th. Also, shout out to Out of the Groove for getting their first top 10 officially in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yeah, for real.
So that's kind of dope. Another NASCAR show. We gotta put some love out there. All right, let's go Cup Series. Hendrick dominated. Chase Elliott, William Byron, up front the entire race. The entire race. Now, as I mentioned last week, NASCAR's been pretty dope this season.
For real. It's been great so far.
We have had our first boring race.
We got a stinker.
In the next gen era. We have officially had it.
It was bound to happen. We knew it.
It was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen at March. Hendrick dominated. Chase and Byron, incredible runs. Also saw some good runs by Joey Logano, Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney, and Ross Chastain. So, pretty solid runs for them. Someone that did not have a great run was Richmond winner of a couple weeks ago. Denny Hamlin, as he mentioned, he sucked. They were awful. It looked like they weren't even running with Joe Gibbs. That team struggled. It was just
I know
bad.
They mentioned he had like some type of shifting problem though. They might. Yeah. I've heard that on the broadcast. I don't know if that's true. They said that on the broadcast.
But that's just from like his interview, his interviews after the race. I mean,
it just seemed like they were like, he was just like a 20. We were terrible.
28th place finish for Denny Hamlin this past weekend, and another couple of teams that struggled really bad. Daniel Suarez finished 29th. In the same equipment of Trackhouse, and it's not like he's had a bad season. Like they're just running bad. Like this past weekend, a couple other guys that ran pretty bad. Justin Haley finished 31st. Todd Gilliland finished 38th. And he qualified
made it into
top
the top 10. Yeah,
he qualified top 10, and he finished 30th. I was just like,
that's crazy.
I don't know, just surprised. But yeah, so we saw some surprising struggles. But most importantly, there was no passes for the lead while there was green flag action. Not one.
On the track, like even under green flag pit stops too, like just in general, like there was no passing for the lead at all.
It was just, you can blame it on the package. You can blame it on the weather. You could blame it on the tires. I don't know, man. I didn't think Martinsville was going to be bad this year.
I was excited. Dude,
I mean, they shortened the race 100 laps. I was thinking we were going to have like
a brawl.
Yeah. And it was just like, I don't know, just interesting overall. But the race was won by NASCAR Truck Series winner of this week.
Yeah.
William Byron sweeps the weekend at Martinsville. Super cool. Second win of the season, the first repeat winner we've seen this season in the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's go ahead and read this top 10 real quick. Willie B gets the win. Joey Logano finishes second. Third place, Austin Dillon, his best run of the year so far. Congrats to Austin. I thought he was winning this race, not gonna lie.
I was pulling for him.
Fourth place, Ryan Blaney. Fifth place, Ross Chastain. As I said before, consistency. Sixth place was Kurt Busch. Seventh place, his brother, Kyle Busch. 8th place, Eric Almirola. I'll say it again. Consistency.
Consistency.
9th place, Chase Briscoe. I'll say it again. Consistency. And 10th place, I'll say it again. Chase Elliott. Consistency.
He should have won though, but I think his pit crew messed him up anyway.
Surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
not even surprisingly from what I've seen about Chase fans, they've been saying the pit crew has sucked this year. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
But all I know right now is that we have a new points leader. William Byron has taken a 3-point lead in the NASCAR playoffs so far. Chase Elliott is still second. 3rd place, Ryan Blaney. 4th place, Ross Chastain. 5th place, Alex Bowman. 6th, we got Logano. 7th place, Truex. 8th place, Denny Hamlin. 9th place, Kyle Larson. 10th place, 10th place, Chase Briscoe. 11th, Austin Cindric. 12th, Eric Almirola. 13th, Harvick. 14th, Tyler Reddick. 15th, Kyle Busch. And 16th, he snuck his way in, boys. Austin Dillon is in the top 16. Good to see. Just outside, I'll read 17th to 20th really quick. Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Chris Bell. And just a reminder, Brad Keselowski is still not in the top 30 in points, guys.
oof.
He's currently still 31st. However, he's only 7 points behind 30th place Corey LaJoie.
I guarantee you he's gonna be aggressive at Talladega.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
we'll get to Talladega next week. But
Yeah.
I may or may not be picking an RFK
Yeah.
to win Talladega. But anyway, overall, Martinsville, that's all I'll say. Just not that incredible. Go ahead and let's go to F1. Let's go to Australia. What's going on with Australia, Jay?
Okay, so we had Formula One at the Albert Park circuit over the weekend. Here it was at 1 a.m. here in America. So my memory is a little groggy. So if what I wrote down is a little messed up, I'm sorry, but I'll do my best.
It happens.
I'll do my best I'll do my best to make sure it's pretty accurate. But all right, so the start was very clean. Lewis Hamilton actually had a very stellar start. I think he started in 7th. He ended up in, I think, podium, like right off the start on lap 1. But then we had our first safety car of the race on lap 2 with Carlos Sainz getting I think he just went into the corner too deep, got into the grass, spun across, and just beached it right in the sand. And it was a terrible weekend for Carlos Sainz, and I feel very sorry for him. Like, I don't know, like he's trying to battle with Leclerc in the championship and Verstappen, and like he's just not really getting as much luck as Leclerc's been having, basically. So
Yeah, and it's kind of disappointing because 2 Indy boys may or may not have picked
yeah.
Carlos Sainz to win at
I
Australia.
was hoping you'd let that slide.
Hey,
Didn't I
I
pick
was in
Leclerc?
your same boat, bro. I
Didn't
was
I
in the
pick
same
Leclerc?
boat. No. Me, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Me and Daniel both picked Sainz, but you also picked Ricardo. So I mean,
Oh, it was my
it's
wild
also
card,
like-
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, he didn't do bad either, but
No.
the race
I mean,
went on a bit. Sorry.
McLaren had a good day.
Yeah.
I was gonna say McLaren had a good day.
Yeah.
That's
No, they
all I was
did.
gonna say.
They did P5 and 6 for both of them, so that's great. But the race went on for a bit, and we had a few battles with Stroll, Albon, and I think it was either Gasly or Tsunoda, and then Perez and Hamilton were battling for what was actually going to end up being a podium finish. And we had a safety car come out on lap 24 for Sebastian Vettel after he spun and hit the wall and broke his front wing. And he was just devastated because this was his first weekend back. I think he had crashed, or no, he went off earlier once in the race, but he had crashed in practice as well, or qualifying. One of the two. I can't remember if it was practice or qualifying. But yeah, he had a terrible weekend. A lot of people that seemed that they were gonna do better honestly had a really bad weekend, but yeah, I don't know. And then we come back and lap 39 suddenly Verstappen's engine gives out and it just goes poof, and he had to retire from the race from second place. And him and Leclerc probably were gonna have a pretty good battle up until the end, kind of similar to Jeddah, but yeah, the engine just went poof, and it was over with for Verstappen's day. So, on lap 42, after the safety car or the virtual safety car ended, I did want to throw this in there. Lance Stroll was on a killing spree this weekend, and he threw it up the inside of Bottas and almost took Bottas out. And not only did that, but he ended up taking Latifi out in qualifying. I think it was incidental, but he still took him out, so he still gets blamed. But at the end of the day, Charles Leclerc finally went on to win the race after a very, very eventful day. The podium was Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez, my boy Sergio, and George Russell actually ended up getting a podium. So great for him. His first official podium outside of Spa last year, which was rained out, and he qualified on podium, and that's how he got his first podium in F1. But his first actual race finish podium, let's say that. Notables are the rest of the top 10. Hamilton was 4th. Norris and Ricciardo, as we talked about, McLaren had a great weekend this weekend in Australia. I think Norris qualified P4, so kind of finished right around where he started, so that's great. And then Ricciardo jumped up a lot from where he started as well. Ocon 7th, Bottas 8th. Bottas in the Alfa Romeo finishing good. Consistency, as you guys said earlier, consistency. Pierre Gasly finishing 9th, and the man of the day, the driver of the day.
Driver of the day.
Alexander Albon. He said, you guys pit when you have no grip on your tires. He said, I pit because the regulations tell me to. He did not pit once until the very last lap of the race, and that's just because he had to. He pitted from P7, mind you, and he still finished in points. That's crazy. But congratulations to Alex Albon. I love Alex Albon. I got a picture with him back there somewhere when we was at Indy last year, but I love Alex Albon, so I'm happy for him. And now I'll take you through the championship standings real quick. Charles Leclerc is 1st. George Russell is actually 2nd. Carlos Sainz 3rd. Sergio Perez 4th. Lewis Hamilton 5th. Max Verstappen 6th. Esteban Ocon 7th. Lando Norris 8th. Kevin Magnussen is still in the top 10 in the championship standings. So I feel like they're gonna come back. I feel like they're gonna come back from this weekend.
They're gonna have a good weekend.
Yeah. And now Valtteri Bottas is now in 10th in the standings. Daniel Ricciardo is just outside. Pierre Gasly is just outside. And Yuki Tsunoda is just outside as well. Just a few notables outside the top 10. And the constructors, the top 3 goes Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull. So my prediction's kind of coming true. Kind of on some luck because Mercedes is kind of getting some luck with these Red Bull engine failures. But my prediction is kind of coming true, though. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it any way I can get it.
It's been a pretty solid season so far. I won't lie.
It's been great. This season has been just every race has been solid. I won't even lie.
Right.
So yeah, I love the new F1 car. It's been great racing. So yeah, that's all I got to say for F1. I don't have any questions. I couldn't really think of any for this race, and I don't know if
this race didn't really spark a lot of debates. Really, it was just like that crash in qualifying. That was really the thing that.
But everybody knows it was Lance Stroll's fault. So
right.
But
so.
Yeah. But I know you guys.
Just a bit.
I know Daniel tried to stay up, and it didn't really work out. And I know Tristan.
I got about halfway.
I watched the race the next morning.
Morning. Okay.
So
okay.
Don't worry.
Okay,
I got you, bro.
you.
I just didn't watch it live.
Okay.
Because I couldn't, man. I'm just saying. I had already stayed up till midnight watching. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, I got you.
You know.
All right. But since I don't have really any questions or there was no controversial takes from this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and throw this over to Long Beach with Daniel Chaney.
Alrighty. So today we are going to talk about the Acura Grand Prix at Long Beach.
Long Beach.
Really good race. I think that's an understatement. And so first of all, before I get started with kind of like the race review, it is worth noting that in qualifying, Colton Herta broke the track record.
Oh yeah.
During, I want to say it was his last. I want to say it was during the Fast X.
It was during the Fast 12, I believe he did.
Fast 12. Okay.
No.
I can't remember. I just remember that happened during.
He broke it for the second. It's the second time he's broken a track record this season.
Yeah.
Like Mans is on a tear.
Mm-hmm.
It was super impressive, and I was cheering. But in the back of my head, I was like, "Uh-oh, this is how Nashville felt." And I had said that with the guys, and I was like, "Surely, this won't feel like Nashville."
This won't happen.
Spoiler alert: this was Nashville, but better.
And then it was worse.
Well, I'm just saying, as a race, this is if the Nashville race was good, because we had we had a lot of crashes and stuff. We had a lot of stuff going on, but the racing was actually consistently good.
Yeah.
So I wasn't complaining. Obviously, the beginning of the race, Colton Herta just began to just take off, like pretty much from the beginning. There was no catching that man. Um, that was until on about lap 8 or 9, friend of the show, Dalton Kellett, ended up just cutting it a little too tight on a corner, and caused a yellow. So he was done for the day by then. Obviously, when there's a yellow, there's a restart. So it kind of evened up the playing field a little bit. And then in lap 21, Alexander Rossi, who was having a pretty good day at the beginning of the day, like he qualified really well, way better than he had looked in the beginning of the season. I think that's an understatement. But he was trying to pass Felix Rosenquist, and he ended up making contact with him, kind of just pushing him in the side pod. And I think that ruined both their days because Rossi he didn't immediately fall off. It was kind of an overtime fall off, but he just really wasn't in contention as much as he was at the beginning.
No.
And directly after that contact, Rosenquist just fell. Yeah. He was dropping. And I felt bad for him because, he's giving all these interviews at the end of the race. He was like, it's not really our fault. Just we had a bunch of tire degradation and we got damage, and it wasn't, we didn't cause the damage. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, they weren't giving each other, when I looked at replays of that, they were not getting each other. They were.
Yeah.
No.
They were
taking everything they could get. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was aggressive driving.
Yeah.
He didn't fully wreck him, but
they got into him.
Yeah, he bumped him kind of heavily. Yeah. And then in lap 35, Devlin DeFrancesco, he hit his wheel on the wall and had to retire from the race just because the damage was too much. That caused another restart. Also, around that time, it was a little bit before, was when so the leaders, the three main leaders, so Alex Palou, Colton Herta, and Joseph Newgarden, they all kind of had their pits around that time. And Herta's was right before Newgarden, but after Newgarden's pit, he beat him in the cycle. And so that was kind of a big turning point in the race. And so from there, Colton Herta was just very frustrated. And on his team radio was because his dad is his strategist. And so he's telling him what the plan is, when he's going to pit. And he was like, Dad, I know what's happening. You don't have to keep telling me the strategy. I know what's happening.
Don't tell me how to drive, Dad.
And then in lap 57, I think he thought the plan was cutting it into the wall. He just got too aggressive, and he was just trying to track down Newgarden. It was just a mixture of probably frustration, trying to get back up there. It's a lot of things happening at once, and felt very Nashville-esque. I was having flashbacks. It happened. I was like, what just happened? It was kind of weird. Almost the same situation. Trying to catch the leader, very frustrated that he wasn't the lead anymore. Just made a questionable decision.
The most emotional words in motorsports, in Daniel Chaney's opinion. Colton Herta will not defend his champion. Will not defend his race win at Long Beach.
Yeah, you know me.
That's my terrible impression. It's just I feel like that's how it always sounds whenever someone favorite to win the race. Max Verstappen! That kind of thing. I feel like it's kind of like that. Verstappen's engine blew. Verstappen's engine blew, and I swear they were like, Max Verstappen loses an engine! It was
yeah.
Oh, and Max Verstappen loses an engine! It's very similar to that.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd seen the weirdest crash of the day, and then about 3 laps later, we saw Takuma Sato spin Simon Pagenaud into the Garden of the Fountain, and he was just kind of chilling there for a little bit.
That was not even the best part of this race.
Oh yeah, we thought that was the weirdest moment of the race. 6 laps later, Marcus Ericsson spins out because he hit the wall, and then as he was trying to just get back in the swing of things, he just kind of ran straight into Scott Dixon.
Yeah.
And so that pretty much screwed his day.
What are you doing, Ericsson?
And we thought that was about it for the Ericsson thing, and then we'll get to that later. But in the last 20 laps, it was really just a three-way battle between Joseph Newgarden, Alex Palou, and Romain Grosjean. With about 10 to go, Jimmy Johnson and David Malukas, they ended up wrecking one of the turns, so that tightened up the race a bit. Got a little bit of a restart, and we got to see the three-way battle continue. During said three-way battle, as they went past the turn that Marcus Ericsson spun off into. It's so funny. I'm sorry. They're panning. If you
Oh my
didn't watch
God.
the race, this will make like no sense, like other than just watching it. But
We
they're
might
panning
put a little clip
across.
in there.
They're panning across as the drivers are like continuing their battle, and they just look up, and Marcus Ericsson is just sitting in like a foldable chair, just like chilling there. And like
It was honestly.
it was really funny, and it was really depressing, really funny at the same time.
It immediately became a motorsport Twitter
Meme.
just
That
meme.
it's I know I said it. That's an early contender for meme of the year for all of motorsports. I'm sorry.
real.
That was one of like the
Yeah.
few times this year that I've just audibly just started dying behind like I was watching a
Oh my
race.
God. That was
That and
hilarious.
also like I know I didn't talk about it, but Jimmy Johnson, he broke some of his bones in his hand during the first practice, and I believe he's getting, I don't know if he's getting surgery, but he's getting treatment, and he should be ready by the IMS tests next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So shout out to him for continuing this race, because I know he said like he basically said like if the doctors came up to him and said like it's either you run this race or you skip this race to make sure you're ready for the 500 and all the testing like in between. He was like, if they would have told me that, I would have been done with this race. I would like, he's committed to the Indy 500, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Obviously he knows his strong suits. I'm sure he's really looking forward to some more ovals.
Well, the man's kind of
Um,
won at IMS a lot.
He's also won on ovals a lot. So I don't blame him. I really don't blame him.
For real.
But with about 2 laps left, 1 lap left, Takuma Sato wrecked, and so the race finished under caution amidst the battle between the top 3, and so we ended up with the podium of Joseph Newgarden, Romain Grosjean, and then Alex Palou. I thought this was a really good race. I was really pulling for Grosjean, not gonna lie. I think a lot of people were. Let's be real. We want to see that man get his first win.
Yeah, bro.
It's coming. It's
Man.
coming. I know that it's gonna happen.
It's gonna be the Indy GP. I'm calling it right now. That's my prediction.
Honestly,
it's gonna be the Indy GP.
bold
I'm
prediction.
telling you.
I think it could be Barber. I think it could be Barber.
You think it
I'm-
could be Barber?
I think it could. Cause if you think that was the first track that he tested on, and it's a road
Yeah.
course, and F1 guys excel on the road courses.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Just a thought.
We'll see.
Yes, we'll see.
But the top 10 of Long Beach. So we had Joseph Newgarden in first. We had Romain Grosjean in second. Alex Palou in third, rounding out the podium. In fourth, we had Will Power, and then Pato O'Ward in fifth. Really good to see him finishing well. He's had a rough start to the season, so I'm glad he's kind of getting on the right track. In sixth, we had consistency, Scott Dixon. In seventh, we had arguably the king of consistency, Graham Rahal. How does he keep doing it?
Dude, I love it. I
Um,
love it.
In eighth, we had Alexander Rossi. I know he kind of fell off from the top 3, top 5 where he started off, but it's good to see him try to find his way back up to the front.
He's still got points. That's all I can say.
He got good points,
Yeah.
and so I know he is not mad at that. In ninth, very quietly in ninth, Elio Castroneves, and then in 10th, we've got a rookie. We've got Kyle Kirkwood in 10th.
Yes, sir.
You'll love to see it, especially for an AJ Foyt car, who in the past few years haven't really had a lot of success. So it's good to see a young driver with a team that has kind of floundered in the past few years get a top 10.
And it was kind of nice to see because I mean obviously Kellett wrecking out early and Calderon being Tatiana Calderon and a rookie.
She
in the
finished
NASCAR
the race.
series.
She
I mean,
finished the race.
I'm not hating on Tatiana Calderon.
And
I'm
that
just
is
saying,
baby steps.
I'm just saying, like with her not having a whole lot of IndyCar experience, it's good to see an AJ Foyt car in the top 10. That's all I can say.
Okay, and then for our championship standings, in first place, we have Joseph Newgarden coming straight off 2 wins. That'll do it. In second, we still got Scott McLaughlin. He's still up there. In third, we've got Alex Palou. Consistency.
For real.
In fourth, we have our third Penske car. We've got Will Power. 3 Penske cars in the top 4 championship standings. You love to see it.
You really do love to see it. Not
In
gonna lie.
fifth, we've got consistency. Scott Dixon.
Yep.
In sixth, we've got Roman Grosjean in sixth.
Hey, good for
Pretty
Roman.
consistent
Nice.
on the non-ovals this season. So hopefully it continues. In seventh, we've got Renus VK.
Nice.
In eighth, we've got Marcus Ericsson. In ninth, we've got Pato O'Ward. And in 10th, how does he keep doing it? It's Mr. Consistency, Graham Rahal.
Rahal. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I predicted in my season predictions, my preseason predictions. I really hope Graham Rahal gets a win this season. It's been way too long.
He's
Hasn't
the
it been-
Eric
I
Almirola
think
of
it's
IndyCar.
been like
He really is the Eric Almirola.
He's the Eric
Oh my
Almirola
God.
of IndyCar.
He is.
Hold on, I need to look up when his last win was. 'Cause it has been a while.
It needs to
I mean,
come
if I-
soon.
If I remember right, it was probably Texas a couple years ago, right?
His last win was 5 years ago in
Jesus.
Detroit, 2017.
Detroit.
Holy crap.
And then also, I feel like we should shout this out really quick. Currently, the highest placed rookie in the point standings is Christian Lundgaard.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have called that going into the first 3 weeks of the. I mean, that's
wouldn't
awesome for
either.
Christian Lundgaard. I mean, right now the rookie standings goes Christian, Kyle Kirkwood, David Malukas, Callum Ilott, Tatiana Calderon, and then Devlin DeFrancisco. So, again, not the way I would have had that 6 go
Yeah.
at all. So,
Right.
really good to see Lundgaard running pretty decently so far. I mean, he already has a top 10. I mean,
Yeah.
super good for
Wait,
that third
remind
team.
me, did Kirkwood crash out at Texas, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's why he's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
I'm pretty sure this is the first race that Kirkwood has finished, actually. For
No, he finished
St.
St.
Pete.
Pete.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall, that was Motorsport Media, guys. Let's go ahead and transition. We got some predictions this weekend for dirt racing,
Oh,
Bristol Dirt. Okay. We're going dirt racing for the second year in a row in the NASCAR Truck Series and the NASCAR Cup Series. However, this season, it's a night race, as they've been saying on all of the commercials. We're going back to Bristol Dirt, but this time, it's a night race. And I'm like, okay, cool. Remember what happened the last time we had a Bristol night race, right? And like Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott and AJ Allmendinger wrecking across the finish line. But we got 2 races this weekend. We have a lot of dirt guys filling in. Let's go ahead and start with the NASCAR Truck Series. Now, I do not think we will have a Truck Series regular win the truck race. I'm going with the guy that won Bristol Dirt in the Cup Series last season. I'm picking Joey Logano in the number 54 for DGR. It's going to be very interesting. And for one, the DGR is in the 54 with the Kyle Busch Motorsports font. I just want to say that really quick.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I saw it and I thought it was fake at first. I thought it was just like a render or something. And I was like,
No,
wait. I was
it's
like,
the
wait.
54.
I was like, wait,
with
that's
Kyle
real.
Busch Motorsports on a Ford. No. Joey Logano is running in a car that Kyle Busch, like, it's his font. Like, that's just so weird to me. And yeah, Joey and Kyle were teammates, but they haven't been teammates for a long time. So, like, it was just interesting. I wasn't expecting it. But I'm picking Joey Logano this weekend. For the NASCAR Cup Series, I am picking Kyle Larson to win this weekend at Bristol Dirt. I think that dirt tracks get it done, and there's no one better on dirt tracks in the NASCAR Cup Series. My underdog is Chase Briscoe. Another guy that knows how to get it done on the dirt. Could just see it happening. So there you go. Let's go ahead and go over to Daniel. You got Truck Series pick, Cup Series picks.
Okay, so for Truck Series, you took my original pick. So
You can pick
now I thought about it, but I want to go with an underdog wild card, really out there pick. I don't think this is anyone's pick. Like, pretty much out of anybody.
I think I have a feeling for what you're gonna say. I don't know why
I'm not
thinking
sure that you do.
All right.
Because
Start with an H.
we have seen, yeah, We have seen her in the SRX series do surprisingly well on dirt. Dude, screw it. I'm going Haley Deegan.
Hey.
Nice.
I
Sticking
don't
with
know why. I just
DGR.
had
Sticking with
man,
DGR.
I know you, man. I know you way too well.
It's because I said I don't think anybody's got this, but I'm picking it. I don't know. She ran surprisingly well on dirt last year during the SRX race that she partook in.
Yeah.
I think she could surprise some people. I don't know. We'll see. But and then in Cup, do I go with the easy regular answer? Do I go with like another like brain regular answer? Since Tristan already picked Kyle Larson, I'll go with the guy who won it last year, Joey Logano. But not for trucks. I'm picking him for Cup because I don't know. I feel like can't do it. He can't do it twice in one weekend.
I get you.
And then my underdog, my wild card. I'm going the man who ran surprisingly well last year. I'm going Daniel Suarez.
Yep.
I think this because Kyle Larson even said like just because like you have dirt experience doesn't mean you're gonna run well in dirt in a Cup car. It's a really big wild card race. I think this is one where really anyone can win it as long as they're moving right and making the right decisions.
Hopefully, I'm not moving to the right, though. I will say.
Yeah, moving in the right direction. That's probably the better way to put it. I think Suarez gets it done. Jay,
cool.
what are your picks for this weekend?
Oh, buddy, there's so many people entering this truck race that I've never heard of before, but I think So I was looking at the entry list while you guys were talking, and I was like, who am I envisioning right now? Who am I envisioning to win? And I did this last time. I tasted the air, and I got my truck in Xfinity Series correct. Okay,
Yeah,
so
did.
I feel like that's a good omen in a way. So I'm gonna do that again. So I'm gonna go with Derek Kraus this weekend.
Ooh, nice pick.
Yeah.
A guy that is pretty underrated on dirt and ran well at both Knoxville and Bristol last season.
Yeah. I'm going with Derek Kraus.
that.
That's my truck pick. So hopefully he does good. But yeah, I'll be cheering him on because I want him to win. I want to get that point. So, but no. Now in Cup, my first pick is Kyle Larson, but I don't want to actually say him because I have two other picks. I have two other picks that I can choose from. I'm gonna go with the man himself. I feel like this is where he's gonna get his first win. Do you guys know who I'm gonna say?
Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I
could
would be
see it.
very
I
happy.
could see it. And my
I
wild
would be
card.
a happy little guy.
Yeah. In my wild card, I have it as Bubba, but I feel like it's gonna be
Yeah.
a toss up between Daniel Suarez and Bubba, and like I'm on that fence right now. I'm gonna go with Bubba.
There you go.
Bubba.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And speaking of Daryl Waltrip is back in the booth this weekend.
Yeah, I forgot about
Let's
that.
hear some boogity coming to the
boogity.
start finish line. Daniel, you have never watched a NASCAR race where boogity, let's go racing, boys, has started the race.
Yep.
I know of it. I just
But
haven't
we're
watched
gonna
it live.
they're gonna be coming to the start finish line, the green flag, and you're gonna hear Mike Joy said, "All right, Daryl, take it away." And then Clint Boyer's gonna be like, "Yes, I finally get to experience this in the booth." And then it'll be like,
Oh, that was so painfully accurate.
oh, then you're gonna be like, "Get off your seats, here we go, boogity,
You forgot-
let's go racing, boys."
Other than the boogity boogie, you forgot the most important part. Reach up, pull them belts tight.
Yeah.
Boogity boogie.
And then
the
Clint's
best.
gonna be, wow, that really baffles me.
Oh my god, it gets me every time.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there you go.
shoot.
Those are our picks for Bristol Dirt, guys. It's going to be a very interesting weekend in the NASCAR world. Going dirt racing. This race is going to be interesting because we are seeing next gen on dirt. And from the tests, it's been looking all right.
Solid.
Looking
Looked
okay.
all right.
Shoot, I know in the last episode I said Bristol Dirt's gonna be bad, so I'm sticking by it though. We never know. It was only one car that was on the track. We haven't seen it with all of them, so
It's true.
I'm gonna stick by that.
Stuart Friesen
but-
looked like he was running pretty solid laps around that track, and it does look like there's 2 grooves, so
Yeah.
that's pretty nice. I mean, they've done a little bit different stuff in the banking, so excited to see practice. Hopefully, it just doesn't rain. I really don't want it to rain.
Yeah, it sucks.
And last year the event was pretty much ruined by rain, so
Yeah. Especially the truck
appreciate-
race.
yeah, I would appreciate no rain.
Mhm.
So please, Mother Nature, bless Bristol, Tennessee this weekend. Anyway, let's go ahead and close the episode out. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Indy Boys Racing Podcast. Go ahead and follow all of our social medias down there. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Indy Boys Podcast. We're starting to post on our TikTok, guys. Go ahead, give us a follow over there. Give us a like. It really does mean a lot. Next thing we got coming up, go ahead and follow us all on our personal social medias. And of course, thank you so much to Ray ROBB for coming out and today. Really hope he does well at Barber. Would love to see that for that 2 team for Andretti.
Oh yeah.
But most importantly, there is less than 50 days until the Indianapolis 500, buddy. We have a lot of content coming out during the month of May, so we hope you guys go ahead and tune in to all of that. Share the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, downloads on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I mean, it really does mean a lot. Interact with us on social media. It really does mean a lot when you guys give us support for the podcast and tune into every week. So we really appreciate it. And I mean, that's really all I got to say. Jay, you got anything?
No, basically just give us a rate, subscribe, just do all those things. Big thank you to Stingray, as Tristan said. Big thank you to Stingray. That was a great interview. I really love that interview. He's a good dude, so definitely follow him. He's gonna be an IndyCar sometime. I feel it. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Daniel, you got anything to say?
Shout out to the Stinger, man. Shout out to Stingray
The
Rob.
Stinger.
What a solid guy.
Man.
It was a really good episode. I'm really excited for what we're gonna do in the next 2 months. Got a lot of things cooking up.
For sure.
I'm excited to see it.
There we go. We'll put all of Stingray's social medias down in the description and below. But signing off for Daniel Chaney and Justin Cox. My name is Tristan Grider. We're gonna put this fun little thing that we did in the beginning of the show as a warm up as our outro today.
Yeah.
So just enjoy this. All this Black Lives Matter. Dalton Kellett and the main man Sting Ray Robbie's on the show. On the show. We live from Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome to the Indy Boys Racing Podcast. My name's Tristan Grider, joined with my co-host.
That's gotta be the intro. Keep going. That's the intro. I'm recording right now. That's the intro. I'm recording right now. That's the intro.
Oh, gosh.